afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jeff Goldberg, and I'm here to talk to you about William Shakespeare as part of Avid Learning in the Royal Opera House's initiative and ode to the Bard. Many of you may know that my production company, the Jeff Goldberg Studio, will be bringing Julius Caesar, written by William Shakespeare, to the stage at the Royal Opera House sometime in the near future. We don't have dates yet, as everything is fluid because of the quarantine situation. We were supposed to premiere on the weekend of the Ides of March, but unfortunately, for the safety of all of our patrons, we and the Royal Opera House felt that it was best to postpone. Don't you worry, we'll be coming at you real soon. That's a promise. Now, Avid Learning would like me to help you decrypt Shakespeare a little bit. Let's make it Shakespeare for Dummies, or No Fear Shakespeare. Well, let's start with something that I think all of us experienced when we were school children, be it middle school or high school, or even possibly at our university level, when we first got our taste of Shakespeare. And the big problem that a lot of people have when they read Shakespeare is just that. You've read Shakespeare. And Shakespeare never wrote his work to be read. That's right. All those years ago, he wasn't thinking to himself, gosh, I'm going to riddle poor school children the world over in a variety of languages with my text in their schoolwork, on their syllabi, and in their exams. That wasn't what he was thinking. No. He was a playwright, and he was writing for the stage. William Shakespeare's work is meant to be performed. And the stumbling block that so many people have with the material of William Shakespeare's is that it doesn't read as well as it performs. Well, that sounds like an obvious statement because it is. And now let's come to the second hurdle people have when it comes to Shakespeare, the language. Well, recently, while preparing Julius Caesar, I was very lucky to work with a wonderful colleague named Nick Pillow, who himself trained at the Royal Shakespeare Company in London, England. And I recall vividly when he started his first language session with us, my cast, of Julius Caesar. He said, folks, understand this at the outset. 80% of the words in the text, you know what they mean. That's right, 80% of the words to 90% of the words, depending upon the text, you already know what they mean. What you have to do is decrypt them. Understand that you're not dealing with a different language, you're dealing with a different syntax, a different grammar, a different sentence construction altogether. And once you start to really peel back the layers of Shakespeare's style and his diction, it becomes very vivid what he's talking about. Now, there is no shame in having an open version of No Fear Shakespeare, Cliff Notes, or whatever study guide you want to have with you as you're reading. But if I may add something, I think the most important part of understanding Shakespeare's text is understanding the context, first, of what they're written about. William Shakespeare's texts, from King Lear to Macbeth to Romeo and Juliet to Othello to A Merchant of Venice, Julius Caesar, all of these texts are about various places in the world at various times. And the research that Shakespeare did is rather impressive. He really got into the depth of the material that he was writing about. He understood the people, the players, the mechanics of those societies, and he also really took out time to allow those mechanics and those universes that he was writing about to reflect the second part of his context, his own. That's right. Art is never created in a vacuum. We can't talk about art or artists unless we talk about the time and place in which they were creating. And it is very important to also learn about Shakespeare's time in the Elizabethan world, to understand what he and who he was talking to. And finally, I really think one thing that people have to understand is that William Shakespeare, we've become so used to hearing it in this British educated vernacular where people sound like, cheerio, carry on, lovely, to be or not to be, that is the question. Now, of course, that's beautiful, and it's wonderful to listen to Benedict Cumberbatch, Kenneth Branagh, Laurence Olivier speak the Shakespearean language. But actually, there are two things I'm going to share with you that you may not know. One is that actually the accent of Elizabethan English today is closer to the American accent that I'm speaking in. Yes, of course, that does make me feel a little bit special and justify how I speak Shakespeare's language. But here's something else. Shakespeare's Globe Theatre was open to the general public. it wasn't open only to the educated, the wealthy, the landed, the lords, the estates. It was also open to the rabble, to the regular people, the workers. And actually, what's really interesting about William Shakespeare's work is that so much of it is very funny, and a lot of it is crude and makes very vile jokes. Now, of course, it's wrapped up in that 16th century language, and we can't really understand it. But go back, and I bet you'll find some stuff that makes you giggle, maybe even makes you a little shy, because there's some great stuff in there. Ladies and gentlemen, I was asked to do a 5-minute video. I've gone past the 5 minutes. Now, if you know me, you know that's not a big surprise. Once I get going on a topic I love, I can go on for hours. So I'll cut it short and just simply say this. I want to thank Avid Learning for all of their wonderful support, and especially this initiative of an ode to the bard. The Royal Opera House, you guys know you got my heart, and I hope to see all of you very, very soon at the Royal Opera House for our production of Julius Caesar. Please stay safe, please stay well, be with your loved ones, follow the rules, and we'll all come together when the time is right.